Well, hello, everybody, and wow, jumping Jehoshaphat or whatever you say. We got a big room already, and we got even more people coming. Holy, it's raining people and YouTubers all over the place here. They're everywhere. We're breeding them. So we've got Commander McMillan in as usual. How's it going, buddy?
Howdy. Doing well.
Good. We've got Slavi in from @Yurichenko, her amazing channel. How's it going?
It's going.
Yeah. Fighting a little flu, but she's still here in perfect form. And we've got Claire and Ivan in, both from Car4Ukraine. Claire, how's it going?
Yeah, pretty good here in Australia.
Yes.
Better than in the White House.
We're going there already, are we? Okay. Ivan, how you doing?
We're live in Ukraine and keeping up with what we can.
Awesome. We've got Rudy Acosta in again, new YouTuber we found and adopted around here. How's it going, Rudy?
It's going good. I'm happy to be here.
Awesome, man. We've got an old friend back, somebody we haven't streamed with in a while, from the European Resilience Initiative Center, henceforth known as Eric, because nobody can get that out of their mouth more than 5 times without screwing it up. It's Sergey. How you doing, man?
Yeah, great. Thank you. I'm doing great. Just came to Berlin 2 hours ago, literally, from my trip to Ukraine, and happy to see you guys all broadcasting from all over the world.
Awesome. We've got Phil Etner in from On the Edge podcast, and he's basically a regular now here, so we might as well call him that. How's it going, buddy?
Good. Thanks. We're just putting the finishing touches on our next episode, which is with Sergey. So
awesome. Well, don't rehash it. We'll do something else so everybody can see that later. And we've got another new YouTuber friend joining us today. We've got Tanya in. Welcome. Nice to meet you. How's it going?
Hello. Going ever since well. Thank you. Happy to see you all.
Cool. Glad you could join us. So we've got Andrew Mikado popping in soon. He's probably, eating a chicken burger or something right now. Something like that. Where do we start after A, the week, but B, the last 24 hours? Right? This is Slavi, do you want to take us on the lead on this, and we can talk about the petulant little bitch and his little brother?
Sure. I was gonna do a little bit of breaking news actually, but since yesterday's I guess kerfuffle, as we called it earlier, but I call it a lot chaos. Yeah. Dumpster fire. One of Norway's largest fuel companies hauled back bunkers will no longer provide fuel to U.S. forces overseas after Trump's mistreatment and disrespect of Ukrainian President Zelensky. So they say no fuel to Americans, and I think this is just the beginning of the flashback on America, and it's well deserved, I'd say.
Yes. Commander, Commander McMillan, for anybody that doesn't know, U.S. Navy retired and a logistics man of note. So what's the effect?
Arguably minimal, because I don't think they supply all that much fuel to U.S. forces, but it's a start, and it's registering increasing and growing European displeasure with our current administration. It also shows that Europe in general is starting to stand up and say, well, if the U.S. isn't going to do its part, we're going to assume that mantle and do what's necessary to protect Ukraine.
Mm-hmm. Anybody want to, open floor, jump in when you want, right? We did a thing on our 42 show, our kind of humorous news show that we did. It was released this morning on the new channel. And Dunk and I did the old pause, play, debunking routine with it. And I almost lost my voice. I was getting so upset watching that 7 minutes of terror,
Yeah.
It was
I think so many. Oh, go ahead.
Americans that are, J.D. Vance was going on vacation in Vermont, And Americans are out there in Vermont standing up for Ukraine with, this is also breaking news, with Ukrainian flags and everything, protesting.
Yeah.
So people, not just Ukrainians, but the world is standing behind Ukraine. And
I think it's becoming increasingly evident that the U.S. administration and the American people do not agree. And bizarre as it sounds, even the MAGAs are starting to turn on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's getting crazy.
Yeah.
Sergey, you're usually quite attuned to the political goings on in Europe there and whatnot. The reactions to Trump and JD Vance and that disrespectful display are pretty harsh, even though they do seem to be trying to not say what they truly think. They're toning it down.
Well, we have seen like recently these shocked reactions. First on the speech of JD Vance at the Munich Security Conference a couple of weeks ago, when JD Vance has practically accused Europe of censorship, said like, guys, like what you're doing like is not in the interest of freedom. Look how free the US is. You don't have free speech here, etc. And it was like everything. Even before the German elections, when the AfD party, the far-right German party, closely allied to Moscow and promoting a lot of Moscow narratives, was massively supported by Elon Musk, who is a close ally of Donald Trump. So the whole speech of JD Vance sounded pretty insulting for the Europeans, despite the fact that indeed, like he was, he put fingers into the wounds of Europeans. He said, "Look, guys, if you think you can be defeated by the Russians, who just like invest €200,000 into some Facebook campaigns, and your democracies fail, maybe your democracies are not strong enough," which is true to a certain extent. But the whole speech, without even mentioning Russia's war against Ukraine, without even mentioning Chinese attempts to undermine our democracies, concentrating like on the only threat to democracy, on the EU regulations and Brussels bureaucracy. That was ridiculous, of course. And but interesting was the reaction of the Europeans. Like many called it a wake-up call. And I asked, guys, if you need it as a wake-up, or if you call a wake-up call a speech, even an insulting one, by a US-American vice president, and you haven't got all wake-up calls in the form of Russia's wars, threats, nuclear blackmailing, etc., maybe something wrong with your sleep. And what will be your reaction? Like, what will you do? Like, will you create a European army? You don't have even a legal framework for that. What will be your response? Like another speech of how insulted you are? It doesn't help.
Yeah, it doesn't at all, does it? Phil, why don't you lay a little rant on us, because you got one boiling by now, don't you?
No, well, I mean, obviously, but I want to one thing, not to take things in a sharp left turn, but I do want to mention one thing I noticed that I don't think a lot of people are picking up on during the whatever the dumpster fire, as Slavi put it. Take as painful as it is to review that video, look at the video again, and in particular, watch Zelensky's eye line, where he's looking, as Vance is starting to really lay into him and getting aggressive and pointing at him and his finger and all the rest of it. If you look at the wide picture of the room, and then you look at Zelensky's eye line, he looks directly at the ambassador. He looks at the Ukrainian ambassador to the United States. And there's a nonverbal communication there. And everybody's going off on how she put her head in her hands and kind of shook her head. I don't get that context. I get that she was disgusted with the American side of things, because Zelensky looks at her and there's some sort of communication, and he almost subtly nods, and that's when he starts taking it back to Vance.
Yeah.
which I thought was a really interesting dynamic in that, you know, she's the ambassador. She's the one that's going to be called by the State Department or whatever if she gets brought out on the mat. And she's the one that's going to have to, you know, do whatever she's going to have to do after all this. But I thought it was really interesting, that nonverbal communication between her and the president, President Zelensky, which I think is notable.
Yeah.
But you know, generally, Sergey touched on all of this, and also, by the way, Sergey being on the show this week, I don't want to give away too much because many of these topics we talked about, so you're gonna have to tune in tomorrow to On the Edge. But I think there is a growing. I think there is an attitude, and you Europeans can correct me on this if you think I'm wrong, in that regrettably the attitude here is regrettably, if you're going to leave, go. If you are leaving, if you are turning your back on us, America, then just go. Don't let the door hit you on the back, you know, on your way out the door, you know, on the backside. Obviously that's not possible because America's too big to ignore, but or to fully be blocked out of Europe. But I think this is going to hit Trump back. There's going to be a backlash, and then obviously to his master in the Kremlin isn't going to like this either, in the sense that he basically tried to strong arm Europe, Ukraine, and by extension Europe, and the Ukrainians and the Europeans have basically called his bluff and said, you don't want to be effectual in Europe anymore? You don't want to have a say in how things happen here? Hasta la vista, you know? Sorry to see you go. But, and I don't think he anticipated that. I mean, the man's a bully. The man is always, but it was a terrible negotiation tactic. And the one last thing I'll say before, you know, we'll pass it over to somebody else is that I immediately thought of Ilya, as I've expressed before. Ilya Repin is one of my favorite painters, and he's got this magnificent painting called "The Zaporizhian Cossacks' Reply to the Sultan," in which the story is that they're sat around a table responding to a belligerent threat by the Sultan to demand that the Cossacks surrender. And so they sat around a table, as the story goes, and thought of the most offensive and kind of off-color response. And I just instantly was like, that's not what you do to Ukrainians, you idiots. I mean, if they really wanted to get this mineral thing signed, if they had anybody who had any knowledge of Ukraine, they would have gone to him and said, these are a people who have lived under colonization for hundreds of years, and they are finally finding their own voice and their own path. They will not replace an imperial master in Moscow for one in DC. You know, even if that's what you're trying to do, do not take that approach, because all you will end up doing is insulting them, having been a colonized people. And it just shows that the master of the art of the deal didn't do his homework, and it was the exact wrong approach to go at Zelensky and by extension Ukrainian people.
Phil, yeah, I think you're losing track of the fact that Trump and his coterie of imbeciles are people who want to reestablish a world with colonialism.
I'll grant you that. I
don't think you could have explained it to them so that it would register with them. To them, their view of how things should be, you know, that the Ukrainians should come and lick their boots or something.
Yeah,
doesn't seem to register.
I'll grant you that. I'm coming at a place from where if you really want to get something done, figure out what it is you want to do and approach your negotiating partner with that in mind. But you're right. Maybe they just don't care.
Yeah,
I don't think they do.
Let's turn to our newest guest here. Is it Tanya? How do I?
Hello. Yeah, my name is Tanya.
Okay. Okay.
I'm just looking how it looks like because it's my first stream. So I just listening and watching, so like that.
Okay. Sure. Yeah. Make yourself comfortable and absolutely be yourself. Let's see. We'll go to Rudy here. What does an American brother of mine there have to say about this freaking mess?
You know, I had seen that meet between them yesterday in the Oval Office multiple times because I was like, I don't understand what the Trump administration is getting so worked up about. Zelensky literally did absolutely nothing disrespectful, nothing wrong, and he got ganged up on. And once he didn't sign the minerals deal and he ended up leaving, he went straight to an interview with Fox News. And right there, they kept on trying to trap him. Like, do you feel like you need to apologize? And thank God, I'm so glad I was excited because he was like, no, I don't feel I did anything wrong. And it's like, if you don't agree with them, if you fact check the Trump administration, they don't like that in any way. And they'll make your life miserable in any way that they can. So the fact that Zelensky, he's not going to kiss the ring is pretty amazing. And I think that was absolutely the best decision.
Yeah.
In the Fox universe, anyone who criticizes or even looks askance at the Orange God King is evil.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when we look at this, like all these details which we discussed, like was his approach disrespectful, was the clothes disrespectful, etc. We are just like putting us into a mental jail of discussing the things which they want us to discuss, which they want us to argue about. And you can like say like all the time, like how was different clothes of Zelensky to clothes of Elon Musk when he came to the Oval Office in his t-shirt and in this coat and a baseball cap with his son? Yeah. Was it different now? Like what else was like this press conference, this grilling of president of a sovereign nation by two persons in their native language in front of the press with all the questions, with all the accusations? Was it respectful? No. Like what we are talking about? We are talking about a staged event. This event was staged to humiliate Zelensky, to demonstrate to the core MAGA supporters that this angry, vile, dangerous Ukrainian person was finally brought to justice and punished for what he has done. And then the facts are not important anymore. You cannot argue. You can like read the transcript of the talk. The both Trump and Vance just thrown at Zelensky one twisted information after another. Yeah. I don't say lies because not everything what they said was a lie. Like some statements
they added another 50 billion to the amount that's been sent.
Yes,
I thought Trump was amazing at that.
yeah. Like they some of their statements were false per se. Yeah. Some were just twisted. Some were emotionally exaggerated, like this mobilization thing. Of course, Ukraine has problems with mobilization. What country didn't? Like, did the United States have no mobilization problem during the Vietnam War? Of course they had. Yeah. Of course they had.
During
like
the
every
revolution.
nation. Yeah, every
we had
nation
conscription during the revolution.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that you can see how these facts and false statements and twisted facts were thrown from two directions into one person, and that is not how you make negotiations. That is how you go into a conflict. And both Trump and Vance have decided to go into conflict mode even before this meeting has started. And now the question is, why did they do this? Why there was no single request and no single address towards Vladimir Putin? Why do they want to have like some concessions from Ukraine, not from Russia? Yeah. And the moment when the Ukrainian journalists from the public asked the very fair question, what will you do when Russia will not respect a ceasefire, a peace treaty. What was Trump's answer? What will happen if tomorrow a bomb drops on your head? Gosh, that is our reality daily. Like, I just came back from Kiev, and a bomb could have fallen on my head every moment. Like, I've been to Kiev for 2 weeks. There were like 5 or 6 air raids with air gunfire over my hotel room, and I went to the east to Kharkiv, Izum, Pokrovsk, and every single night, like, you can get a bomb to your head. That's reality, but that's not an answer. It's not an answer. The answer is, when Russia will not negotiate, will not fulfill the ceasefire.
Yeah.
Putin will blame Zelensky and say it was Zelensky who has done something wrong. And I have a very strong fear or suspicion that moment Trump will not say, okay, we will punish Russia now because Russia has not respected the deal. But he will once again say, okay, Putin said it were Ukrainians. They were Ukrainians.
Yeah.
Isn't it just a way out?
Sorry. I just wanted to say we're talking about it very much from an international point of view of how we're receiving this situation. I'd be really keen to know how the Ukrainians are receiving what happened, because I was kind of nervous. I heard a political point of view turning on Zelensky, and I want to know, really how Ukraine feels about it and whether they still support Zelensky strongly.
Yeah.
So go over. Sorry.
Well, I wouldn't presume to speak for Ukrainians. We have 2 here, so
yeah. So let's go, Ivan.
I have my thoughts, but I'll wait.
I think Tanya's ready.
Yeah, I can say something. So I think that ratings of Zelensky is popping up recently, and many Ukrainian people, of course, yesterday have little panic in the social media. I checked different publics and comments how everyone is acting, and it was a strong message that we have united and support our president, because it's hard times. Someone is comparing it's for the very beginning of the full-scale invasion that no one expected what is going next in the next 24 hours. And it was funny that one of the creators of Monobank is our online bank. Usually we support militaries and make donations there. He made the jar for nuclear bomb, and Ukrainians, I don't remember how much, for 24 hours they collect, I can't say how many millions, but it was a lot, 20 millions or 30 millions, I don't remember. It was just for fun, and he mentioned that he made this for showing emotions, and of course he will donate this as drone and support the army. So Ukrainians still remain calm but shocked, because I guess what's happened yesterday no one expected. And I also checking how Zelensky was acting there, because in the very beginning, I want to mention that English is not his first language, and I know how hard it is when you have communications with one-to-one American and foreign native speaker, and me trying to reply. Dialogue is okay, but it's a group of people or 2 or more, sometimes you don't have a time to reply. And I feel he of course was attacking by boss yesterday, and English is not his first language, and it was for him definitely very stressful situation with traveling with the war, and they've been asking about his suit, why he's not wearing the suit, and different things. So in the internet, people comparing with Winston Churchill not wearing the suit, and Zelensky was not wearing the suit, what is the question about? And I saw his reaction. He showing the photos of the prisoners of war, and people don't react, let's say he bring this prisoners of war photo, but then he was already very angry inside the room, and we all thinking that the contract has added some points and some information that he couldn't sign it. It's even not mentioned about the guarantees. Maybe it was something else that he was like angry about that, and maybe the situation created by Trump and J.D. Vance to make the show, because I exactly remember I watched this in Ukrainian public, then I watched all this original in English, and I do remember that Trump mentioned something, it will be the great show, something like that. So for Trump, yesterday it all was like for his also ratings, and maybe he trying to show in something for Putin, because in some period maybe he was acting, and so it's like all Ukrainians thinking about all this all. But tomorrow we have on Sunday all Europe going to, like, I guess, support us, and this is very important for us, because let's say America is far away, but Europe is like close to us, close to Russia. So we all hope that Europe will make some decision, and in the end it's all very serious, especially with France and Great Britain is a stronger supporters for us. So we didn't panic, let's say, but it was we've all yesterday a little bit. I checked that many had a dream about Trump and Putin last night. Someone cannot sleep. It was like
awful.
Very much. Very much. I'm glad you didn't stay quiet too long. That was excellent.
Well done. Before we get to the diaspora, oh, sorry, Commander, do you want to?
I think Ivan's got something to say.
I wanted to.
Oh, it's Ivan. I'm sorry.
No. I mean, ladies first. So clarity. I think one. While it was all happening, I actually watched it live. I don't know why the hell I never watched things like that live, but I had a feeling like, something is coming. And at some point I was like, they're not going to just break it in a moment. Like, they're not going to just terminate the deal and terminate the event. It's diplomatic thing, right? There's no way.
Yeah.
And then it's happening. Then for one like short moment, I started wonder, like, okay, if this is like the highest level, were there a possibility for Zelensky to sort of try to sort of smooth it somehow and leave it all that thing behind the closed door? So
I see it as a trap. There was no chance of that. It was never going to happen.
So yeah, that leads to like another thing. Was it actually a stage thing? Was it the thing pre-planned so then Trump can not lose his face, and at the end of the day, like, see, I tried to make a peace, but this guy just wants to fight a war, doesn't want peace. Yeah, but still, I'm like, Zelensky is not a newbie, right? He's been on the scene for many years. I saw how he handled in this Kvartal 95 in his comedy. He handled really tough things live, and I was like, was it possible to do that? And this is the only concern. I heard it from a couple of friends of mine who were like, in general, we all agree, like, he did the right thing. And I think eventually, even if he smoothed it, probably the consequences are going to change. It's going to be the same thing. But still, as a diplomatic professional, we were like, could he act better? Like, in terms of professionalism.
Yeah.
Because now he's a diplomat, right? He's a president. So it's not that we're blaming him, but we're like, could he do a better job there? We're like, maybe he could play their game, like, yeah, guys. Yeah, just maybe make a pause, wait, swallow it, but then at the end, like, say, guys, I listened to you, but, JD, with all due respect, you never been to Ukraine.
Yeah.
You know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Donald Trump, if we fall, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland next.
Yeah.
Your soldiers will be there.
Yeah, but JD has watched stories, he said, and he tried to use all these arguments like that. You haven't been to Ukraine, you will be next, and he was never allowed to continue to finish his his statement. And I think that there are no international negotiations. Never.
Yeah, I wish that would have
that
happened.
could be.
I love that video. I
Well,
love
yeah.
that video.
I hope that didn't happen. I'm glad that it didn't happen. That's an extreme.
There is no diplomatic negotiations which can be turned 180 degrees or even 90 degrees or even 30 degrees in the last moment in front of the press. This conference was designed as a show for humiliating of Zelensky. There was no intention to find a deal. Like all deals of that kind, they get like settled in front, and I don't think there was any chance. I'm so sorry if I even interrupted.
Can I just say,
Yeah, it's interesting to hear what you guys think, whether there was a chance for things like that, or it was pre-stage, pre-made that there was no out. Claire, please.
I thought a lot about this, and I thought this is a man who represents a group of people, a whole population. And would you prefer to see him lick the boots of these people and be obsequious to them and put up with their insults on your behalf? Or do you prefer him to stand up like a man and try to get your point across and represent you with pride? I mean, it's kind of like you would leave the room standing up, or you go out on your all fours.
The parallel I actually saw, like exactly the thing that I had as a student in the university or in a school, when I know 100% that the teacher is talking bullshit, but I'm not swallowing it. And I'm like, when he said like in 2 weeks, and it's like in 3 days, this is like, it's exactly the thing I did as a student. Teachers didn't like me. Like I studied very well, but they never liked me. And I would act exactly the same. But the difference is this is not like a student with a teacher. This is like the highest level of thing. So would I act the same way? Probably yes. But that's why I'm not a president, right?
Yeah.
I just finished the school I was with, with diapers maybe 20 years ago. Yeah. But no, I don't think you had
I liked his response saying, I'm not playing cards when Trump.
I love that part.
I'm not playing cards.
Yeah, and the way,
for death.
The way he said it too. The way he delivered it, he's like, I'm not playing cards. Like he was so frustrated at that moment. He's trying to hold it back so much, but he's like, I'm talking to a couple of squirrels dressed in suits who think they're important and they're assholes, you know?
Yeah.
Yep.
I like
He could have said that. He could have said that. Yeah.
Let me switch into shout out mode for a couple here, everybody. We got a couple of good ones. So, Thomas Sweden there threw a $20 direct U.S. donation in through Ko-fi. You can see it on the screen underneath me. Yesterday, we witnessed an argument between a man without a suit and 2 suits without a man. That is well said, buddy. That's awesome. I absolutely love it here. Horn! All right. And then we got Johnny Neighborgard in with a super chat here. Hello, Shills. Slava Zelensky. Ooh, I like that one very much. Very much. Holy Oblation became a member. Woo-hoo-hoo. Darren Vaughn comes in with a super chat. It's fuck JD Vance and his dad Ash armed to be an American. You know, JD Vance was renamed Mr. Couchenboffer yesterday on the show. So please use his proper terminology around here. I hate that guy. Ohms comes in with a great one. Simply traitors, because they are. Johnny Nevergarden, Golby Hendricks, both gifting out Shills memberships as well. So huge thanks there, everybody. I was so ashamed watching that whole thing, and I'm not American, as you can see. It's kind of obvious, but I'm only like an hour or so from the border. I got so many American friends and whatnot. And yesterday during our pub chat, I kept having to say, now you got to understand, we're not ripping on all Americans, just those making the stupid decisions, because things like America and America keep coming up, but we don't mean everybody. We just mean that little group of complete morons, right? So I just want to get that clarification in, because I mean, we got Americans on the Shills moderator and news teams and stuff, and it's just the insults are flying. I'm like, not them, not Commander, not Rudy here. It's
Yeah.
Let me hop in here though, and just further respond to Claire's question about how it's being received here in Ukraine. And again, I don't intend to speak for Ukrainians, so bear with me here. And a lot of this is anecdotal, but like the guys in my market who sell me my veggies, I was walking past the market stall and he was watching a live stream of some debate about what had happened. And I asked him, what's your opinion? And he was very much, screw Trump, and I'm very much pro Zelensky. But having said that, we can't stick our heads in the sand or wear rose-colored glasses. There is a vocal minority here who are upset with Zelensky, who do say that he walked into a trap and he should have not taken the bait, sort of thing. I heard it from a team member on the show at On the Edge. We have come to an agreement that we're just going to have to agree to disagree. She's very critical of Zelensky, and she thought, the need for the weaponry and to draw it into the war superseded, him defending himself against Trump and Vance. I disagree. But also in addition to that, and I would like our Ukrainian members to maybe talk about this. A lot of hay is being made about a member of the Rada, this Alexander Dubinsky fella, right? Who made a performative thing on the floor saying, "I want to start impeachment proceedings." My understanding of Dubinsky, I don't really follow the man's career, and I don't watch Ukrainian media that much. But it's my understanding he's a bit of a demagogue, a bit of a kind of a. I guess we would equate him with, I don't know if Tucker would be an appropriate, Tucker Carlson would be an appropriate analog to
Tucker
him.
Carlson.
He's a loud mouth. He's a rabble rouser.
What you're looking for is ass hat.
Yeah, that too.
Here, hold on. I got one for this. If we're going to talk about Tucker Carlson, we got to hit this one. Because it just became Putz Watch.
I mean, am I Tanya? Maybe Tanya or or Slava? You want to? Who is Dubinsky? You want to tell folks who Dubinsky is?
Piece of shit.
There you go.
Okay.
That's precise.
Tell us how you really feel.
I mean,
now
he tries to play a political game, right? And he's just winning the political points. And whatever, the mass is pro, he's doing the opposite of that, and he's winning some votes. So there's definitely some people in Ukraine who live in the bubble and believe whatever alternative thing they believe in. And here one guy comes and says, "I'm with you." So they're going to follow him no matter what bullshit he's talking about, because he's just playing it politically, right? He knows that there is a request from the population for something. It might be not big, but they don't care what it is about. They care about a percentage. And if they can win that population, then he can sell it, he can use it. So it's not about right or wrong. It's just about pure math and politology, right? It's all about that. I wouldn't really, yeah.
Good call.
So that's my view on that. Maybe Tanya, maybe you're.
I just want to make the point. Right now is a red siren in Kiev again. It's like our usual time schedule before we go to bed at 11 or 10 p.m. It starts, and I hear this from my window.
I switched off mine on my phone. I don't listen to it anymore. And I'm not hearing it where I am in town, Tanya. No.
I have bad windows, maybe I hear this.
Well, I hear it on your audio. I hear it on your mic.
Oh, yeah? Oh.
Mm-hmm. Kiev is big, maybe Siren is in the part where Tanya is and not where Phil is.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
It's a big city, and they are pretty good about localized air raid sirens. So
Oh, that's cool.
But this guy, Alexander Dubinsky, is it? It's Dubinsky, yeah. Yeah, he's a demagogue and all the rest of it. But another thing that disturbed me was not a Ukrainian response, but rather sadly an American here who has been reporting from here since the full-scale invasion, and he's got a presence online. And I tread carefully because I don't want to. Everybody's got the right to their own opinion, but this JB Lindsley fellow who used to do it daily, his claim to fame was he was the only American journalist in Ukraine doing a daily update, and indeed he was until his radio station decided to discontinue it. And again, I tread cautiously because if anybody who is keeping Ukraine in people's minds, I'm all for it. But I'm concerned about what I saw his response to it being, well, kind of like an American here who is a guest in this country crapping on Zelensky. And I was kind of like, you're walking a really fine line here, man, because I know you're MAGA. He was a former Fox executive producer. He was Ailes' protege until he had a falling out, but he's still very MAGA adjacent. And I was sitting there going, buddy, I'm all for you being here and supporting Ukraine, but you're getting really close to a line that I don't like. And what I try to walk myself in that, again, I am a guest here. I am not a Ukrainian. I am an American, and I come from it from that perspective. But I would never in a million years make dictates to the people of Ukraine or to their president. An opinion is fine, but when you start saying, Zelensky, did it completely wrong and he should totally be removed from office, he should be impeached or kicked out, I'm like, that's not your place to be saying that.
And it's not helpful.
And it's not helpful. And opinions are all well and good as long as you couch them in this is my opinion. But again, as a country that has gone through centuries of colonization, it just rankles me that a fellow American would be sitting there, doing the same damn thing that so many people do, and that they think they can tell Ukraine what is this country, who they are as a people. That's not your place, man.
Yeah. Oh, I think we also may not forget, not only that, many people who say, oh, Zelensky should have done that, and he would have got that and that. Can they bring positive examples of other people who went into some sort of negotiations with Donald Trump and his team and convinced Trump and his team into something? No. We have an example of people who kissed the ring and joined Trump's team completely, like J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance called Donald Trump a new Adolf Hitler several years ago. And then he changed his mind. He's now completely Trump's servant, and he's okay. But can you bring examples of people who came to Trump with some argumentation and told him, look, Donald, what you're doing is maybe not the optimal way. Let's talk about it. I respect what you're doing, but maybe there is another way. No, there is no such a case. And another thing, many people love to teach Ukrainians how to fight this war.
Oh,
and I say, there's no nation in the world, or no person in the world who can, because Ukrainians, first, no nation dared to fight Russia. The first thing the American leadership and the European leadership is afraid of is a direct military confrontation with Russia, because, oh my gosh, there will be nuclear threats, there will be attacks, etc. Ukrainians say, okay, we have heard it, we're not afraid of. No nation in the world is has dared to fight Russia for that long time. Ukrainians do it, and Ukrainians do it pretty successfully. Since since the start of Ukrainian counteroffensive in 2022, Ukraine has liberated more territory that Russia has conquered after Ukraine has started that counteroffensive. Even with all Russia's progress in the area of Pokrovsk, which is still the best Russian progress, about 40 kilometers deep. If you need to fight for 14 months or 16 months to get 40 kilometers of enemy territory, maybe you're not that good. Or maybe Ukrainians are that good. That is, I think, the solution. I think the
I like
answer,
that one better, buddy. I like that side
Yeah,
better.
because the Russians, if they would have invaded my country, Germany, that would be indeed a 72 hours conquest operation. And I know like many parties and many politicians of other parties who would be the first offering their services to the new Russian administration. They all hope to serve as Russian governors, but they don't know they will also land in a Russian torture cellar.
Oh.
So what I want to say is the Ukrainians know how to fight. The Ukrainians were predicted to fight for 3 days, even with American weapons. Now they are being predicted to not being able to fight for 6 months without American weapons. What are you talking about? Ukraine is producing that much weapons now by itself. Ukraine has that much experience. And do we want it to accept or not? Europe can produce much more than Europe could produce 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And we have experienced already like several months full stop of American military supply under the recent like Republicans blockage under Biden administration. Now the Americans deliver not so much weapons to Ukraine. Of course it will be painful, but the most painful thing, now I wrap up, the most painful thing would happen if the US American military intelligence will start officially or unofficially on the level of some people installed there, supply Russia with intelligence information. That would be a very bad development. And I know that many European nations now seriously considering cutting connections, intelligence connections to the US because they don't know what will happen to their data.
Well, how can you trust it now? How can you trust it?
The most dangerous thing.
Right, you can't trust it now because there's no solidity to the framework for American intelligence and spy network anymore with the disastrous upheavals that's going on within the agencies.
Absolutely.
Hey, can I
You
just
don't know
intervene?
like what happens there.
Can I? We've got Andrew Mercado in the room. We should welcome him.
Yes. Andrew, welcome in, buddy. Good to see you. How's it going?
Hey, everybody. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt. Sergey,
no worries.
Continue as soon as after. But Dick, Commander, Slavi, thank you guys for having me, and then the Shills and the panelists. It's really good to be here and be a part of the conversation.
Awesome. Well, speaking of the conversation, how are you feeling after that absolute fiasco where our man Mr. Z gets treated like a punk?
Well, I had a panel yesterday because if I would have came off right away, I probably would have got community guidelined. So, Phil, thank you so much for being a part of that yesterday. So
that was fun.
Yeah, it was. So we had a good discussion yesterday. But yeah, it's the most disgraceful thing I've ever seen a sitting U.S. president ever done, and that's saying something because
man,
we've had some bad decisions in America, obviously from presidents, but this was like a betrayal in 4K. I mean, usually this stuff happens. They code it a little more, or it's like behind closed doors. But JD Vance just came out and attacked and Trump was
so brutal.
And Trump was pushing him too. We watched the whole 40 minutes last night on stream, and when Trump was like getting like going at, he was literally putting his hand on Zelensky and like he like physically moved Zelensky, and like pushed him a little bit. So yeah, it was a complete and utter. It was a attack on Zelensky from both sides, from everyone. The question about his clothing is such a Russian talking point at this time.
I know.
They did that in 2022 and it continues and it's still a talking point, and it just bothers me because it's such a talking point devout of like historical relevance. That's why Zelensky's doing it, right? To channel like Winston Churchill, but obviously do it for his country. And it was just the worst. But if anything, to find a resiliency out of this, it showed how bad Trump and JD Vance are for everyone now. And it's not like opinions anymore. It's like they're bad because we saw they're bad, rather than in the news they can filter him somehow, right? Or they don't attack him really for what he says anymore because he says so many crazy things. But when he says bad things and then does bad things, I mean, there's nothing that they can defend. So and if anything, I think it'll be more support for Zelensky. I think Zelensky's getting more people rallied around him. If he's already had a lot, but he's getting more. Every major world leader's coming out in support of Ukraine. So if anything, I think Donald Trump's move in the Oval Office yesterday backfired on him. But it's still emotionally is just terrible that even happened.
Yeah. Yeah, couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. Let me do a couple of quick shout outs here. We had Dunk on You gifting out 5 Shills memberships. So very big thanks there. And Darren Bond came in as well. Sorry, Slavi, we let Ukraine down. I study history and politics. Never seen anything like this. It's a good apology. It's worthy. You don't have to make it, but some down there do. Jean-Marc Ledecker as well with a $10 super chat here. Got something to send to you. What email? Oh, here, I'll type it in right now, but it's thesillyshill@gmail.com. It's a tongue twister. Don't know why I made that. I must have been drunk when I figured that one out because it makes no sense. Let's see where we are here. We've got, there's a couple others over here as well. So I knew I had something else to do. So direct donation on Ko-fi there from Karen Hensman. Somebody please pick these pricks, Vance and Trump, and drop them in the middle of a war zone in Ukraine, as they are both gutless, yet to visit a country that's fighting for its life and freedom.
Oh, no. And JD Vance is what we used to call in Iraq a fobbit. or a fobbit with an F, or a rimp. Andrew, you might know that expression well. So a fobbit is a forward operating base. It's a hobbit that never leaves the wire.
They never go outside.
He was a public affairs officer, and I knew some public affairs officers that went outside the wire. He did not. He basically wrote for sections of Stars and Stripes in the Marine Times. He wrote articles from inside a nice air-conditioned location somewhere. And then REMF is a rear echelon. Sorry. You can guess the rest. The man's never heard a shot fired in anger. He doesn't have the balls to come here. Neither does Trump, and somebody should make the point over and over and over again that Sleepy Joe did come here. He had the gumption to come here. So, I mentioned the Zaporizhian Cossack response. There's a couple of great lines out of it, and I wish that Zelensky had been a little bit inappropriate and said these things. This is the Cossack response to the Sultan. You are the crick in our dick. The devil shits and your army eats it. I'm paraphrasing here. You couldn't kill a hedgehog with your bare ass. We on land and on sea we will fight you. And furthermore, the moon is the same as it is here, as it is over there. And we know not the calendar, but it is the same between us. And furthermore, fuck your mother.
You guys know the belt that Zelensky gave to Trump before everything happened. So Usyk came out and said that that's not the belt that he gave to Zelensky. So, but he cannot. There's some feedback. But he cannot say what he knows what the belt is, but he cannot say. So I'm reading now. Everyone's really curious the meaning of this belt. Some people say it says like Usyk, but it could say like you suck or something.
Well, there's a moment that people have analyzed, and actually it's been the MAGA types who have been saying, oh, you don't insult our president. But there is a moment where they've kind of isolated some sound from Zelensky, and I don't know if it's true, but it certainly does sound like under his breath he goes, Suka Blat.
Yeah.
which is basically you fucking bitch.
Oh, no.
I'm honestly proud of Zelensky, to be honest.
I definitely heard the Suka. You can definitely hear that.
I think I did hear Suka. I definitely heard. I think I heard Suka, which is
let's agree. Let's agree. He said that, and he was right.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
I'm with it.
Oh yeah. Sorry, everybody on the panel, you've seen me play that gag of Zelensky punching, but you're not hearing the audio. Everybody on the stream is. So let me trigger it right now. manually so that I can turn on the audio so that you guys get the extra part of the gag, because it's BS that you're not getting it. Just 1 second here.
You suck.
Okay. And I think it would be
a month's salary to see that in reality.
yeah, right now. Let me play it for you guys on the show here with me again, because now you'll get to hear it. It's even better then.
You suck.
One more.
If only that really happened, I wish.
Oh, there's one more on this show everybody's going to like as well. We took Elon at his best and improved it.
That piece of shit.
Totally. So let's see here. There's another direct donation on Ko-fi, and from Dunk on You 23 there. Slava Ukraine. Zelensky is a true leader. Couldn't have said it better. I never could have held it together. I would have decked him for sure. And then there was Dunk on You had gifted out 5 memberships. I think I called it out, but thanks again. And Cats as well is in here with a message. Hey everyone, Slava Ukraine. Love it. Here home, Slava. I think we're caught up on our shout outs and whatnot. So yes. Who wants to go where and with what?
I like to add on Zelensky's and opposition. Poroshenko actually came out with a video being behind Zelensky, actually, so which was quite shocking, because I mean that's his biggest opponent, but he stands united with Zelensky. So that was when you push Ukrainians, we just unite even more, I'd say. So
Zelensky might be an opponent for, if it were to come to an election. Zelensky might be a competitor. But for Moscow's interests, that wouldn't be a better thing. Zelensky would be just as difficult and stalwart against Moscow as Zelensky has been. So, I don't think Poroshenko has a chance in hell. But Zelensky might.
We still have Arestovich sniffing around and saying complete, he's made friends with MAGA, of course, that weasel. And
Arestovich he has his origin in this Eurasian Dugin movement, which is Russia's far-right, esoteric, imperialist ideology.
Shamanism. He's a modern-day shaman.
Yeah, it is a very interesting combination of everything. It's orthodoxy, it's paganism, it's fascism, ideas of Ivan Ilyin, a Russian philosopher of 1930s, 1940s, who is very popular in Putin's head. And Dugin is practically preaching for creation of sort of a modern empire, practically based on Orwell's ideas of division of the world between 3 nations, East Asia, Oceania, and another one. So he practically says the Americas, both Americans, will be under sort of a MAGA. It's okay. We will rule Eurasia, and China will take care of the rest. And Arestovich spent many years in this political sector of Russia and grew up there. Not only he alone, from the Ukrainian politicians. And it is not a surprise that both Arestovich and Dugin support a MAGA movement, because for Dugin, MAGA movement is the way to clean up the world from the liberalism mess, as he says. And for Arestovich, obviously, these ways how MAGA spreads its influence, how they avoid harm from political discussions, etc. It's actually amazing how they win practically each discussion for their own supporters, even if their lies have been exposed as theirs. And for Aristovich, it's of course it is something what fascinates him and what he wants to align with. Yeah, sorry for having interrupted it with Aristovich.
A few quick things about Dugin while we're on the topic of it. And I don't like to give him too much credence because I think he's not as important as we kind of think he is, but he's part of an overall movement. But I got my hands on a copy of his Fourth Political Theory, and I got about halfway through it, and I was just like, "Oh, this guy's an idiot. He's a freaking maniac." I mean, if you try and read that book, it's just fascism. It's just it's not a fourth political theory, because his point is there have been three political theories in the 20th century: fascism, communism, and liberal democracy. But I have this great idea for a fourth political way. It's just fascism wearing a different hat. And if you want to look at some of Dugin's stuff, and if you want to keep saying, I completely understand not doing this, but one, there's the interview with my mate, my good buddy John Sweeney, in which Dugin just rips off his mic and walks away because John corners him. Dugin's like, "We're the same. America kills its dissidents. They locked up, Julian Assange." And Sweeney's like, "So Julian Assange is dead, is he? Like, say Navalny, or well, not at the time it wasn't Navalny, like Nemtsov."
Yeah.
And Dugin just didn't like that at all. He ripped off his thing. But then finally, if you really do want to get into the substance of this thing, I recommend looking up his debate with Bernard Lévy, who is a French philosopher. So there was this clash between Dugin as a modern day Russian philosopher and Lévy. And it does not go well for Dugin. Lévy rips him apart. Absolutely rips him apart. So that's Dugin.
But you know what is also interesting about Dugin? You know who wrote her master thesis on the Dugin, on British, on the role of migrants and minorities, ethnic minorities in the UK? And this person
I'm not gonna like this.
The person extra came like to Moscow to write her master thesis on the Dugin. It's Maria Pevchik. It is the current head of Navalny's foundation. Maria was studying in London, where obviously her father, as far as I understand, paid for her study. And then she suddenly came to the idea, why not to go back to Moscow to the Faculty of Sociology at the Moscow University. And she came to Moscow from London extra to be a student of Dugin, and Dugin was her, as they call in Russia, scientific mentor. She wrote her thesis, and her thesis impressed Dugin so much that Dugin published her thesis as an extra article in a book with many prominent far-right thinkers from Italy, Poland, and other countries. So Maria is also, together with Aristovich, is one of Dugin's pets, who were mentally raised by Dugin, and she obviously, for a certain time of her life, was happy to be around of such a great thinker like Dugin.
Sorry there, yeah. I was doing too many things at once. I was trying to get in a response, and then I almost started saying what I was typing, and that ruined what I was going to say. You ever been in that moment where it all just completely collapses on you? Yeah, that's what just happened to me. So let me reset and reshuffle here. Word from Tanya is connectivity issues, just like air raid thing going off right now. So maybe we'll get her back today. Maybe we'll just get her back soon, but we'll be in touch. So there's a direct donation in here, $55 as well. So some big applause coming in. This is from Baltar. By your command, for the Boom Boom Fund. I've never been so ashamed to be an American, says Baltar. I am so sorry my country is failing Ukraine and our allies. Slava Ukraine. I feel sorry for all my good, proper American friends. Having everywhere they go now, they're going to have to go, I'm sorry. Basically, you're fucking Canadians now. So welcome to the I'm sorry crowd. All right? Welcome to it.
Well, for me, Well, apologizing if asked, I will. I'm not just going to be out here offering apologies, but I'm going to be active in a protest movement. I'm going to be highlighting it. There's a very significant. If you're like from Europe or you're around the world, there actually is a significant protest movement that's already started. There's already been 2 rounds of them. It's the 50501 protests. They're not very big yet, but I'm telling you now they will be. So I'll just clip this and come back. And when I told you, and the next one's on Tuesday. It's on March 4th on 30. So I'm going to be out there covering it. And they've only grown in size by hundreds of people each time. And there's only been 2. The first one, and it's been winter. It's February. It's March now. But the last one in Minnesota, it was like negative 26 degrees Fahrenheit. I think that's like negative 30 Celsius. Or I don't know what that is in Celsius. But it was very cold, very, very cold. And there were still about 200 people out there protesting Donald Trump and Elon Musk and the administration and their decisions. I can only imagine now with the Oval Office meeting this weekend, more people are going to be out there in exponential numbers. So, well, yes, I mean, we can kick ourselves for it, but I mean, I was fighting against this the whole time anyways, and I got labeled divisive for doing so, right? Because I was trying to call out Donald Trump this whole time because this was pretty obvious if you've been paying attention to Donald Trump and MAGA. So I can't just like sit on my hands now. Now I have to be active and go another step further, which is to highlight the people that are actually fighting against this and not just be like, oh, darn it, like sucks. That's just not going to be good enough, I think, my opinion.
You're totally right. It's not good enough. You're absolutely right.
Calling your elected officials is so important right now. So if you're an American, support Ukraine, call as much as you can, especially now.
Yeah. Well said.
I call from my American phone, so they don't discount me. My representatives, I use my American phone. So.
Yeah,
even with the time
it's
difference.
actually smart. I bet you because if they saw the +380 up,
if they saw the +380, they'd be like, what?
So yeah.
Even with,
I wonder. Speaking of the protest and the way how people, like normal people, reacted to it. If Sergey from Eric, if you have any feedback on the active fundraisers, if you have, how was that affected by what was happening in the Oval Office? Did you see any like spike that people want to retaliate and they like, here's my money, like get some drugs?
Well, I see it indeed, and we have a spike, and the nations also cooperate with like several NGOs in Ukraine. They see the spike too, and I can say that is what we observed in Germany for last 3 years, when many German citizens donated for Ukraine via our organization, and they were adding comments like "I'm sorry for Olaf Scholz," or "what our government has not delivered, we try to compensate," or "I cannot send you Thurs, but I can send you like several hundreds of my euro and buy things which are needed for Ukraine now." That is what we were observing in Germany year for year. And during the last days, I see the same comments coming from the US with their donations, with the American donations. Like one of the last cases was I was driving my car to the area of Pokrovsk 3 days ago, delivering drones to the 505 separate Marine Battalion. I was staying like at the tank gasoline station, taking my coffee, and then I see a question on Twitter on a person like, "How can I donate?" And I replied the person very fast. Normally, it just like takes you a couple of seconds. And then in 5 minutes, I see a notification like 1,000 euro were dropped at the donation account with a comment from this person. I'm an American. I'm so sorry for my government not doing things. Here is my money. Please accept that. And that is, I think, what we will observe within the next months, because people pretty often say, okay, I support Ukraine, they do right thing, but my government makes a lot for that and I pay taxes. And I support my government, I support Ukraine politically, and our government is doing right thing by delivering military support for Ukraine or humanitarian support as well. And the moment when this government doesn't do it, the person knows, okay, the next moment I can change my government is in 3 or 5 or 4 years, dependent on the electoral cycles. And what can I do now? I can protest. Will it help? Probably no. But I can send money to help here and now. And that's what I do. I think we will see a spike, a huge spike in US donations in the next months.
Yeah, sorry. One just quick addendum there, Ivan. Sorry. I hear what you're saying, Sergey, but in the States, the fear of being voted out of office is enough that if you go out on the streets, if you make the phone calls, if you let it be known that this is going to cost you your job, because sadly in America, everybody's kind of all in a constant electoral cycle. So if you let people know, I'm pissed off about this, and I'm, it may not be tomorrow. We may have to wait until the midterms, but you're going to lose your job over this. They'll respond.
But also too, Phil, we don't have to look any further than 2020, right? I mean, it was a social justice movement for police brutality. However, it kept a lot of Americans active. And they were protesting all year, and it led to one of the biggest wins for the Democratic Party ever. And that was off of a very specific social justice movement. Now, this movement here that I'm talking about is not specific to like one group of people. It's like very class-based. Like, there's billionaires. Elon Musk is an oligarch. Donald Trump is the worst ever, and like that's the energy. And it really incorporates a lot of people. So I think keeping people involved and protesting, and letting also with the addition of calling is very important, because these protests aren't just walking the streets and like blocking traffic. They're going to U.S. capitals. They're like going to the Capitol buildings. People that have never protested before or have ever been to one are going to these things now. They're making, they're making the funniest signs ever. Like, they're not even like political. They're like JD Vance fucks couches, and like they're holding like I just saw one today. You know what I mean? They're like, it's like trolling with protests, or like this one.
JD Vance should go skiing in Russia.
Yeah. You know what I mean? There was the one I post. JD Vance puts his cast iron skillet in the dishwasher. You know what I mean? It's just like silly things, but people are making signs and they're out there, and it's going to cause propaganda in the right wing. They're going to start calling it George Soros paid things, and these are actors, and it's going to cause a lot of MAGA to like pay attention to it. They're going to have to, because they're going to get pulled into it because of the lies that are going to come about the protest movement against Trump, and it will fuel it. It will fuel it a lot, and it'll go really against, and it will bring more people out to them, because now MAGA and Fox News are lying about the protest thing. I'm going to go out there now and troll them harder, and it will just bring more people out, I think. So yes, calling and donating is very important and very good to do, because it's real tangible actions, but so is protesting.
Yeah. We've got our man from Ucadia in. Dunk's here. How's it going?
Hello, everybody. Hello. I can't imagine people have got to talk about, because literally I've been looking up at the news and nothing has happened this week whatsoever. So I'm glad you're all here. I think it's quite. I was just thinking about this. Just like 7 days ago, we had a show, and since those 7 days,
it's been 4 years.
It's been turned this way, turned the other way, pulled inside out, thrown out the window, but with the bath water, everything has been chucked out, and it's like, we're back again. And how can we possibly keep people up to date with what's going on? How can we possibly do that?
We'd have to do 4 shows a day, man. I mean, it's ridiculous,
You know what's going to happen is the people who are not watching this stream now, or they'll probably watch it tomorrow. By tomorrow, it'll be out of date.
Yeah,
the show is already going to be out of date by tomorrow.
Trump wakes up, grabs a gun, and goes hunting in Venezuela in like a big city. Details at noon,
But I know you guys have been talking about Trump, but I want to bring some good news, because I don't know if you've seen it, but you should have.
Dacia Sandero is on sale in the UK.
And Onion Brown, yeah. No, Keir Starmer, our UK Prime Minister, I don't particularly like him very much, but he welcomed Zelensky with a huge embrace and said, we can stand for Ukraine. And I had a little tear in my eye. It was wonderful to see that. Yeah, so a bit of positivity. Europe is not going to sit down for this because we did that before in 1930s. We're not going to do it again.
Yeah. You guys still remember?
Yeah, we've only just paid it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's only one thing that comes good from war. It's you end up with extra airfields that can be turned into auto racing tracks. It's the only good thing. Everything else about it is bad.
And you can meet some nice new friends too.
Yeah.
Even if they are garlic eating, I'm not going to get
So let's turn to Claire here because we need to get some Car for Ukraine updates. Things are moving along. Things are happening. You can always share your screen and I can have it right up on the screen if you want to show anything. No problem. There's a little button in the bottom there that does something important. I don't know.
I don't have anything ready to share, but Ivan might. And Ivan, I think, has some exciting news with regard the revenge donations pouring into Car for Ukraine. I know Georgie at Ukraine Matters is doing amazingly well. I think he bought 2 cars in a day based on revenge donations. And so I'll pass it over to Ivan because he might even have some photos to share. Who knows?
Cool.
You're talking about the photo that I took and sent to you of myself? I don't want to share that with anyone.
Anyway. Ivan, only show the ones where you're dressed, okay? Yeah, only show the ones where you're dressed.
No, that I had nothing to share. Anyway, when all that stuff was happening yesterday, I was like, okay, we need to make a statement, put something on Twitter. But in the meantime, I look at Georgie, who is running this Ukraine Matters, and he committed to make a fundraiser for 25 cars, which is equal to €250,000.
Yeah.
He committed to it. He's been doing it for like 3 months already, steady. It's going slowly, but it's going. It's going pretty well now. And while I was thinking about this, statement and how do we do it online, I see that Georgie is already live, and I see that bunch of comments are coming from people. Every second comment is like, I apologize. I'm American. Sorry for this, guys. Total support to Zelensky. I'm like, whoa. And I'm like, oh, okay. So he's been raising funds for 1 truck, maybe 2 trucks a week. Now he's done for almost 3 trucks overnight. I'm like, oh, yeah. That actually tells, when you try to understand people's reaction, look at not at what they say, but what they do. And sending your personal money that you already paid taxes for something, that actually says something. That's a vote. There's this expression that investment is a belief in you that is translated into money. Well, a fundraiser is your attitude towards what's happening translated into money.
Absolutely. I can confirm the same. I tweeted one tweet if you don't like what is happening now, here is a donation link for drones for the for a Marines battalion. And okay, we don't make cars mostly. We mostly make drones. Everything is needed, like power stations, cars, drones, other equipment. So we focus on drones. And we've got within 24 hours, we've got about €30,000, which is about how much, $35,000 US. And I'm pretty sure that other donation campaigns have also surged. There was already mentioning of this internal Ukrainian monobank campaign, which skyrocketed for 15 or 20 million hryvnia, which makes about 500,000 euro. But also the small campaigns, they skyrocket because people are not happy. People want to see how they can compensate the unfair way of things are going. People understand also they will be the next if Russians come closer. And they know that it is much better to stop the Russians now before this unholy alliance of Russia, China, North Korea, Iran, and who knows whom else will learn finally how to fight a war and will not go for 40 kilometers within 14 months, but for 40 kilometers within 14 hours. That will be a real problem.
Yeah. Very much so.
Well,
Very
we'll
much
be including kind of all your details and stuff in the fundraising stuff, say on the show tomorrow when we debut our guest this week is Sergey. So and that's thanks to Claire. Dick, I gotta kind of bounce because I haven't eaten anything and I'm really starting to get lightheaded. But before I go, I'm gonna. Sorry.
I said you're hallucinating.
I'm hallucinating. No, before I go though, I want to see if I can share this. Let's see. Well, let's. If there's something worth fighting for here, in Ukraine, let me see if I can bring it up.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about this.
No worries.
I'll go to my desktop here.
We're not the fastest around here, people. We're old.
I'm sorry. Yes, we are indeed. So I've got it. Here we go.
All right.
Now, if there is a better reason to fight the good fight for Ukraine, I can't think of one. So here, where is it? There it is. Have you got it?
All set. I figured it out over here.
All right, buddy. Yeah, I know. I'm an old Luddite. This is the newest addition to the On the Edge team. This is the son of our editor, Sasha. It's his little newborn baby boy there. And we're all happy to have him safe and sound and healthy and a member of the team. And if there is any better reason to fight for Ukraine than to let this child grow up in a country that is free and sovereign, I can't think of one. So it is re-emboldened all of us at the show on behalf of our editor Sasha to make damn sure that this child doesn't grow up under Moscow's thumb. So that's my departing little bit there.
And can you make sure he's got a YouTube channel when he's sub to the Shills, please?
Absolutely. We're gonna get him in the interviewing chair anytime now. Anytime.
All right.
His first words will be on the edge. All right, guys. All right, guys. Do tune in. It's a good episode, Sarah. We're just finishing the last edits to it. Every Sunday, 8 p.m. on my channel, Philip Ittner on YouTube. So Thanks everybody for the time. I think very highly of all of you, and let's keep up with the good fight because it's worth it.
Awesome. Take care, buddy, Phil. We'll see you soon, pal. All the best.
Dick, if I can share a screen for just for a minute, maybe that could be interesting for the audience. This is some updates from the Christmas campaign. You remember we started?
Yes.
We are going to have a rocket launcher from the Shills soon. Not yet, but it's coming soon. But also from On the Edge, here was the truck. We sent it maybe about a month ago. Also with ATP Geopolitics. Then also we have Mercado here. There was also a truck with some Mercado branding on the side, and it's like armored from the side to the front.
Totally.
And the Fox receiving that. And actually, this is a lady, Zhenya. She's driving our cars because, we have, as JD Vance mentioned, we have shortage of men. So now the men are fighting, and the ladies are bringing the supplies. So who the hell they want to win? There's no way they're gonna conquer. Who else on this stream? I think there's actually another one from Mercado. Oh, that's Sukomaimus. I don't know if you guys know who this guy is. I actually brought this one myself to Kherson.
Cool.
Let's go.
I brought that truck.
Can we build one of these trucks with like shackles on the front of it so we can give JD Vance a propaganda tour of Ukraine?
Good. The beauty of this one, was that I brought it in person to my hometown to a guy who shows me a video of how he is the security guarantee right now. He shows me a video how a Russian piece of shit is trying to cross the river on the island, because like the river is big, right? You have islands on the river, and they cross in that river. They stay on that island, and he shows me a video how they kill them with drones.
The drone safari.
Yeah, whatever, drone safari. And then he says, you know, then they send new people there, but they don't even give them weapons. They say, you'll find one.
Dylan Burns, Dylan Burns Live or Dylan Burns TV, he's covering that story specifically. I think he actually has a documentary piece coming out about exactly what Ivan's talking about. It's horrific because they bring people in, they use the drone controllers, and then start attacking civilians with drones, and it's just disgusting.
Institute for Study of Warfare has done a pretty good set of articles about it, and they're pointing out that many of the Russian assaults are now 1 or 2 people, often sent out without weapons, and they just send them out there to attract drones and see where the fire is coming from, so that they can then launch missiles and artillery at it.
Oh,
yeah, you're a sacrificial lamb, and that's why you see these pictures of guys who are, on crutches, or people who have colostomy bags being sent to the front line, because you can die just as well as somebody else. All we need you to do is die so we can locate the fire.
Yeah,
Amazing.
That's horrific.
Do you guys take it seriously about the donkeys and the horses? Like, it seems that I know we're struggling to provide enough vehicles for the soldiers. There's an endless list of need. It's overwhelming how many people are asking for vehicles, but we're not to donkeys and horses yet. Do you think it's serious that they're really that reduced in Russia?
It is serious. It is serious. There are at least official statements that they use them. Of course, it's not what they use in all cases, but in several cases they use them. And frankly speaking, don't underestimate the role of animals in military logistics. In World War II, one of the most mechanized armies was German Wehrmacht. And German Wehrmacht has invaded Soviet Union, first of all, lands of Ukraine and Belarus, using about 60-70% of their logistics on horses.
Wow.
So there is, like if you see the German infantry division of 1940-1941 was like relying mostly on horses.
Well, it's the original all-terrain transport.
Yeah,
like of course they had trucks, they had like some other devices, they had for recon motorcycles, etc. But the basic logistics, like fuel, food, equipment, was carried by horses. So it's not something unusual. And of course, the Russians use it. They use everything they have. They use Chinese-produced golf buggies for mobility. They use motorcycles, mopeds, etc. Not a big deal.
There's a comment in the chat here. World War II took down 9 million horses. Yeah, Jilk, 1989.
To put it in context, though, U.S. forces, as recently as Afghanistan, have used donkeys and horses to haul supplies. It's not the norm, but we've done it because certain terrain, it's much easier to get a horse or a donkey to go up into than find a non-existent path that your vehicles can go up.
Yeah. There's a comment in the chat here. Renegade Chungus. Now donkeys are helping jackasses. I like that one. Let me just get a couple of shout outs in and we'll get right back to it here. So Demetrius Siganovas in the chat there with a direct donation, $22 as well. He says, what's up with the glasses? Oh, I finally got a prescription, although these ones aren't quite right. But I've ranted about it enough in the last few shows, so I won't go too hard. But I'm getting them replaced coming up real quick. And of course, he says, Slava Ukraine. Thank you very much there, Demetrius. If I switch over to here, Philip, 2 L's, threw $10 in through Ko-fi. And the message here Donald Trump and J.D. Vance look like a couple of second-rate gay porn stars shooting a movie in the Oval Office for Vladimir Putin. Good thing Zelensky got the hell out of there before Vance pulled him onto the couch. I think tried to use him like a couch might have worked as well. I said yesterday it was a good one. We'll have to repeat it. But do you think J.D. Vance's wife has to like wrap herself in the drapes just to get some action at home? You know, has to have that thick couch-like material wrapped around
Most
her?
definitely.
A couple of
Bringing your meeting to drawing the curtains.
Now, that and his really badly applied makeup,
Oh, wow. Hey, I know.
eyeliner and everything. It's like, dude, you just look creepy as all hell.
Yeah. I mean, even David Bowie in 74 thinks you look strange, right? Come on, you know? Okay, a couple of shout outs here. So we got Judezilla Music in with a $10 super chat here. Such a hideous situation. Loved seeing our PM welcome Zelensky today. Question for Commander McMillan there. Does this action by the U.S. open the door for China to take Taiwan?
That's a hard one to say. Because the messaging that's kind of been coming out of DC when they're willing to make it about the Pacific area is that China's the new big threat, the big enemy. So rather than focusing on tired old Europe that nobody cares about anymore, the Pacific is all important. And for at least some time in recent memory, that's been code speak for the GOP to basically talk about what Taiwan without saying the word Taiwan.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say. And I still maintain that I don't think the Chinese want to actually invade Taiwan. They make a lot of noise as if they're going to, and they demonstrate it as if they're going to. But the negative fallout from doing so, even if they succeed, is huge.
Mm.
And it serves as a great, political safety valve internally for them. Anytime the people in China start getting restless or discontent, all you have to do is wave "We will reunify China and take Taiwan," and everybody gets behind them and forgets about their gripes.
Right, right.
So why are you going to kill the golden calf?
That's a good point. It's a really good point. A couple more shout outs here. So Taste de la Culahuna. I think I goofed that, but it's close. Now this one, I'm not sure. So it's Slava Ukraine. And then I think it's fuck Donald J. Trump, fuck electronic music, and fuck Michael Jackson. I'm just not sure on the other acronyms there.
The electronic music did.
We started off on level ground and went down that rabbit hole really quick.
Yeah. Somebody will correct me and put it in the green room so I can give that a proper shout out. But I am struggling here. Everything's not the right distance in my glasses. I can barely. And don't take that the wrong way. Some electronic music does actually sound like music. We got the Weasel coming in with a super sticker, the little pear guy dancing around. Thanks, Weasel. RC William comes in with a €10 super chat as well. Why should the American people be sorry? They voted for this orange turd, even won 7 swing states. Now Russia and China can do with America whatever the fuck they want, in my humble opinion. It's some strong words, but there is a dose of you asked for it coming up to a lot of people soon. No doubt. Linda S. comes in. Gifting out 5 Shills memberships. Woohoo! Thank you very much. Yvonne Way, Queen of the Super Sticker, puts in that super speeding little hippo guy. It's like, think of Speedy Gonzalez, but as a purple hippo. It's a lovely one. Melinda in Seattle joined up as a Shill apprentice. Woohoo! Thank you very much. Petra Olson comes in with 129 Swedish coronas with a message with love to Ukraine and with love that will be sent. And then we got David N with us super chat in as well. Great streaming hosts. Well, thank you, David N. The Shills is where it's at. Hey, I love that. Very cool. Thanks, David. Thank you very much. And I do believe that we've covered everything. So we still got
one more.
Sorry, yeah.
I'll just give a shout out for our upcoming Easter campaign, which involves nearly all of you guys. So we've called it the Easter, or I've called it, it's kind of organically grown its name, as the Easter Pasenki Trucks Basket, Pasenki being those beautiful eggs that Ukraine paints.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to be buying trucks to put in the basket with the eggs. So confirmed, we've got Mikado Media, we've got PSO1 on X, we've got Sukhamimus, we've got Sergei Sumleni, who's here. We've got the Shills, we've got Tanya Fiona, we've got Jonathan Fink, we've got Dmitry War Translator, we've got Philip Ittner, we've got Rick the Ukrainian, and we've got Renegade Chungus, who's in the chat room. We're hoping that if their other fundraisers can get sorted out, that we might end up with Missile Kitty on X, that we might also get Jonathan Pierce from ATP Geopolitics and Richard Woodruff from Frontline Kit. So
Cool.
Looking good for Easter, a bit of a strong crew, a few newbies in the group. I'm still, often last time when we launched it, we got people coming in after the launch. So we're hoping for our group to grow, because I think we're looking at 15 trucks, and it would be great to get more. So
Yeah.
anybody knows anybody who would like to, he's a small channel, like maybe Rudy, how me contact you?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Claire, I'll give you Rudy's information after so we can get him on the team, okay?
Okay, because it doesn't really matter how, you said he was a new channel. It doesn't really matter how small anybody is. It's about a group effect, right? So,
Yes.
If we create a crowd of leaders and they bring a crowd of followers, then that's the way to do it. And so we're pretty excited. I think Ivan's ready to launch sometime mid-March. Is that right, Ivan?
Yeah, around that. And we've been sort of increasing the pace we are going. Like before all this Christmas campaign, it was, I think on average, like 4 cars a week. Now we're sending like 6 and 7.
Nice.
And that's quite a big thing. And a lot of those things, a lot of those cars, they are armored Toyota Hiluxes and Mitsubishi L200s. So these are pretty solid, reliable beasts. And all of them are pretty fresh, like 2010, 2011 year. So yeah. And as we just had a discussion with Richard Lofthouse, who is a journalist from London. He's helping us to buy some cars in London. And he seriously was like, will we need more cars somewhere in April? Because I'm planning a convoy for April. Like he's buying some cars and he's planning to send them in April in a convoy. And he seriously had a conversation with someone in London. They were like, will we come? And he's like, well, we don't know whether we will need cars then. And after everything that happened yesterday, I just sent a short message to Richard. Like, it seems like we'll still need cars.
Yeah,
yes.
Sure.
Claire, would it be fair to say, Ivan, that cracking into the YouTube community like you guys have in the last little while is that's a helpful thing, hasn't it been?
This is the biggest breakthrough I think that we had.
Yeah,
that's nice to hear.
And you guys have cracked in quickly. I mean, there's a lot of people. They go, "Oh, really? You guys are doing that? Great! I'm in. Like it's, it's. I like it. I like it very much.
Well, they're fun to run, aren't they, Dick? I mean, it's really because of the energy of people like you that this has come about. And we didn't actually set off at Christmas to do such a big group event. We were going to do little individual fundraisers, and then Ivan had a bit of a meltdown and said, what are we going to do? We've got too many fundraisers. We've got to do something. And so we just combined you all. And it was like this, suddenly we had this party event, and it was all kind of up energy and positive and enthusiastic, and it's grown of its own accord. But I think because of breaking into the YouTube community like this and doing these group events, that we'll be able to provide an extra 100 trucks this year, which is pretty huge booster for the soldiers at the front.
Yeah.
So well done, YouTube community, the Shills and Rick the Ukrainian and all the other Mikado Media and Sergey for coming in with his channel, his group, and we hope to see you soon, Rudy. And
absolutely,
we've got Dave down the bottom. Who's Dave? Somebody's arrived.
Yeah, that's our man Dave Worley. He's been around the Shills and streaming with us and stuff for a long time now. Some of you haven't met him yet, so Dave, meet everybody. Everybody, say hi to Dave.
Hey, Dave.
Hi, Dave.
Dave's
really,
not here.
The YouTube community's been fantastic, and it's just, I think the thing that I like about it, there's no reason why when you're working hard you can't have fun, and you guys make it all fun as well.
Yeah.
And the first person actually who reached the first truck was Andrew Mercado, thanks to a guy named Will from Alberta, Canada.
Yeah, he just came along and went and hit it, didn't he, man? That was insane, Andrew.
Yeah, Bill's delivered trucks to Ukraine.
Bill, right? No, William, busy. Bill,
yep.
right.
Yep. He went with me on a NAFO convoy. Not he like didn't go with me specifically, but he like went and like we were on the same convoy together. So it was pretty cool.
Cool.
So Andrew,
actually,
you're doing
Canada launched the trucks on the Christmas tree. I can claim that. And massive shout out to Claire to put it all together with so many different interesting YouTubers, observers, bloggers. I don't know what you guys call yourself, but
I go with Roughneck, but that's just me.
I got a few names for him. Yeah.
It's like having a wife.
Andrew, are you doing another convoy?
Maybe if I want to do it in May, if possible, but if the U.S. is like on fire right now, so it depends on if I am able to, if the timing is right, and if I'm not pulled away from internal U.S. Reporting and stuff happening here because of the obvious. So I want to, I really do, but sometimes my wants get put second place to my what I need to do. So if anything, I'll just keep continuing to host fundraisers, and if anything, it'll save people money and they can just support the fundraiser I'm doing instead of trying to get me to go back to Ukraine. So, but I want to. I do want to.
The photos, just quickly, Andrew, since you're here, the photos, the videos that I sent you from the deployment of the cars, is this like enough for your community, or they want more? They want, I don't know. For sure, the soldiers have to be here with the cars right away, or because the thing with us, we're in Lviv, and we don't really want to send soldiers here to make a nice video of cars being deployed. Instead, we just put it all like round. What is this expression? Round key service, like turnkey service. So the cars just get to the front line, and that's
I think you're doing. I think you guys are doing plenty. You guys are doing perfect. You don't have to do anything more at this point. We've been fundraising trucks for 2 straight years now, so the transparency's already kind of been there. We already have a foundation for it, and thankfully, my community trusts me to attach to solid fundraisers. So that's really all they need and that's why I think you guys have been so effective with YouTubers, because they trust us for daily information and they watch us all day, every day, right? So that's why it was just an easy, like a lot of people, just because they trust us and they watch us, they're going to support what you have too. Because
case in point here, Andrew, we haven't even announced what our Boom Boom Fund is for today, and people keep throwing money in it because they know it's going to go to the right place. They don't even care what it's for. It's just, please take it and use it for something good. Right? They know we've been doing this a while. We don't screw up.
We sometimes, we're not always right, but it's enough to where they know that I wouldn't, or we wouldn't attach ourselves to something that is weird or like not trustworthy.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of which, we do have some money going to Britain, Ukraine at the Ukraine mission on YouTube today, because him and his unit are still doing some fundraising for some armor and a few things. Got the thermal scope going on and whatnot, and a bunch of things purchased. I can't say a lot as it pertains to Brit, but just know this. Soon we can say it, but every dollar that goes to him goes to some seriously important stuff, because he's not dicking around off somewhere just digging latrines or something like that. He's very much doing good work.
Yeah, he's the real deal fighting guy.
Yeah, man.
You know, he's in an awful spot, and you know where you're not going to come out alive if you get trapped.
Yeah, I mean, every day he goes out, we're like, okay, I sure hope I hear from him tonight or in the morning. You know. Yeah.
So if there's a question about verification, I'd just like to relay a little story about verification. I think it's a really interesting topic. And we recently had a personality who is known in the YouTube community, and he applied for a car, and Ivan and I are like, oh my God, we can't touch this. We're already getting biased opinions about this from all the people we know. Like, as soon as you're on YouTube, people love you and people hate you, right? So the way it is. And so Ivan passed it over to somebody in the office to verify the request from the unit, that the unit's actually fighting and doing valuable work and stuff like that. And she approved the request, and then it got sent with a bunch of requests to Ukraine ADOPS, which has partnered with us to provide vehicles. And they said, well, we don't know this unit, so we're going to do our own verification. And what they did was they reached out to other units who were fighting somewhere in the area to verify this unit and that had this personality in it. And they came back with 100% verification. So that's like, yes, they're doing valuable work. Yes, they're really there. Yes, they're incredibly important. And yes, they need a vehicle. So it was like double verified. It was a really interesting process to see it, because we stayed right out of it. Now you'll eventually find out who that person is, because he'll come on YouTube and make a statement about his car. And I just wanted everybody to know that we don't give cars to celebrities or mini YouTube celebrities without going through the normal process of verification. It's not about who you know. It's about actually supporting the people who are actually doing the hard work. Yeah. So, yeah, I thought it was an interesting story.
Yeah. And it's along with that, a lot of you here will know exactly what I'm saying because of our reach as YouTubers through different communities and whatnot. We can suss somebody out really quick. I mean, everybody knows somebody. Andrew knows people that are all over Ukraine. We've got guests and people that join us regularly in Ukraine. You guys know people, and it's not that difficult to, you know, for people with connections to figure this stuff out. You know, I've had Starsky help me out on one once, and he knew right away somebody was a liar. I had Greg Terry help me out with one guy who was a total POS as well. Caught him instantly. Oh, yeah, it's great, man, you know?
Great. Yeah, no, it's good to have people who know people.
Yeah.
You know, really for real.
Definitely. Couple of shout outs here, and then we're going to get into our wrap ups. We're, hour 50 in streaming length here. So, Demetrius Ziganovas come in again with another direct donation in $15. And he says, this is a proper shout out. Kaunas, Lithuania, Slava Ukraine. Now, he does this to me on purpose, right? But I've got some glasses now and I can read somewhat better. They're not the right prescription, but it's close. Neslava, Swiu, Sabakam, Zwino, Rosiana, and then it says in brackets, love your channel, hate orcs. So tell me how badly I trotted all over that one. Let me check. Yeah, I mean, you had to read it. You had to hear it through the Canadian accent, right? So, you know. Yeah. And then Petra Olsen came in with a second super chat here as well. 129 Swedish kroner. Ukraine can be really proud of their President Zelensky. Oh, I couldn't have said it better, Petra. Damn right they can. Oh, yeah, absolutely. So I think we're caught up. I'll say sorry to everybody watching today. We wanted to get to some questions. There's been some great questions asked, but when you've got 10 personalities on a channel, just juggling everybody to get their words in and stuff is about all you can do, right? You know? So, but most of the people you're seeing will be back again soon, and we definitely will get to some questions and stuff for sure. Let's go around the table here and see what everybody's thinking. Dave, we're welcoming you into the stream and saying goodbye all at the same time. No. No, hold on a second here. Dave, we'll just give you a second because I'm going to change a thing on your setup here. Let's see here. Try this. Can I hear you now? Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. I was trying to say some things, and it was all very funny, obviously, and you completely missed my my joke about spotting verifying fakes, and I was about to say but Dunk, in all seriousness, has a £2 million White House that we need to crowdfund.
Yeah, I'm still working on that one. No one's paid a penny so far. So yeah, thanks for your support.
See, I do watch this show. I bet Dunk hasn't even thanked you for being on this stream. Jeez. Anyway, yeah, sorry. I did have one thing from Vladimir. He's as Dunk said earlier, he is in London. He was in Downing Street and left not too long ago. He sent a tweet. I won't read all of it, but the wording is very interesting. So he starts by saying, "London, a meaningful and warm meeting with Prime Minister Keir Starmer. During our talks, we discussed the challenges facing Ukraine, blah, blah, blah. A principled statement of support from the Prime Minister and an important decision. Today, in our presence, Ukraine and the United Kingdom signed a loan agreement. I believe it was something like £2.5 billion. This loan will enhance Ukraine's defense capabilities, be repaid using revenues from frozen Russian assets. The funds will be directed towards weapons production in Ukraine. This is true justice. The one who started the war must be the one to pay."
Oh.
Yeah.
There is so many layers to that lovely, lovely message. Oh, wow. I mean, I could do a 20-minute take just on that alone. What layer of the onion would you like to start with first? Oh, man. Okay, so let's see here. Andrew McCarter, what do you think there? Thoughts and wrap-ups? A little shilling as well, right?
Of course. Well, thank you guys so much again for having me. I love being on these panels and hanging out. Also, yeah, Dick, I understand what you go through now after hosting 2 of my own panels for the first time. It's a lot. It is a lot. So shout out to Dick for hosting these. Thank you, everybody, for your insights. Continue to support Ukraine. And yeah, support my channel, Mercado Media. I'll be live later tonight covering the latest news and probably ranting a lot. So thank you again.
Cool. Let's turn to Rudy Acosta here on YouTube at Rudy Reacts.
Rudy's reaction.
That's it. Sorry.
That's close enough.
Yeah.
No, this has been a great panel. This was really fun. And yeah, check out Rudy's reaction, whenever you get a chance, everyone. And yeah, this is fun. So hope to do it again soon.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll have you on very, very soon again. His link's in the live chat there. Everybody click it and get on over and give him some subs. Let's turn to Ivan here with car4ukraine. Thoughts and wrap-ups there.
I would just quote one classic phrase that first those who thought it would end soon gave up, then those who realized it wouldn't. Those who survived were the ones who adapted and kept going no matter what. So that's what we're going to do.
Good words, man. Good words. What do you think there, Dunk? What's going on in that wonderfully twisted brain of yours?
Yeah, my lordy lord. Yeah, a couple of things. I wonder what Putin has got on Trump. Do you think Putin's got an actual, complete list of the Epstein files, and he's threatening Trump with those? Could be. And also yesterday, the other day with Zelensky and Trump, I really wish Zelensky, while he was pointing out all the stuff, bad things Putin has done, would remind President Trump that Putin is actually wanted as a war criminal. A lot of people seem to forget that. And also, don't worry, because good news also from the UK. Tomorrow in London, there is going to be a summit with leaders from France, Germany, Denmark, the Netherlands, Norway, Poland, Spain, Turkey, Finland, Sweden, the Czech Republic, and Romania. They've all been invited. Whether or not they show up, I don't know. And of course, we've got the presidents of the European Council, European Commission, and NATO Secretary General. So that could be a very, very interesting day in the UK for the rest of Europe. Europe and Ukraine. So let's hope that's a good one. And until then, I would also like to thank Dick, for let me come in here. I'll kiss his feet later.
Gave me 50 bucks.
As also, I should like to point out that Dick does amazing work on these large panel shows. I know, Mikado has been attempting to do it, but I would like to point out that Dick is the one who shows you how it's done. Well done, Dick, and my gratitude to the Dawsonite.
I'm still not paying you, but thanks.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Let's head over to Sergey now from Eric. What do you think there, buddy?
Yeah, first of all, thank you guys for having me today. Always a huge pleasure, absolutely entertaining and educating discussion. A huge honor to be here and to see how many people support Ukraine on very different ways from very different countries and even continents. And how we all try to fill the gaps, where Ukraine needs support most, and Ukraine needs a lot of support. And once again, many people think, what is the impact of my 10 euro, 20 euro, 200 euro, even 2,000 euro? Can it change the course of the war when Ukraine gets billions of support from the nations? First, never forget that these small donations, they go directly to the units. They go directly to the units. That means that the overhead costs are extremely low in most cases. Second, they go directly. That means when the need is very high, when even 100 euro can change a course of the event, they go there, they come the same moment. It's not like state support for 200, 300, 500 million euro, which should be approved in many stations and then prepared in a framework and developed maybe in 3, 4, 5 months when it's too late.
Right.
In this war, the timely help is the key.
Yeah.
And when you go to the front line, like many of us do, if you speak to the soldiers, if you listen what they say, how important this support is for them, you will never question if your 20, 50, 200 bucks were of importance or not, because they are of importance.
Yeah.
And this war will be won by many who have never thought of themselves as of people who will win this war. I mean, first of all, Ukrainian soldiers who volunteered, who were all civilians before this war, and never could imagine they will defeat world's largest and most aggressive army, but also who were supported by people who have never imagined that their support will help these heroes.
Yeah.
And that is how this war will be won.
Good words, man. Good words.
Right.
I want to throw on top of that, when you have an option for donation, always pick the more direct option, like PayPal, a FundMe, like Ko-fi, Buy Me a Coffee. Super chats through YouTube take 3/4 of a month to even pay out to AdSense, and then another 20 days or so from there. And then we have to somehow figure out all the different monetary values, take the percentages away and sort it out. Send it through the direct ones, please. We get more money to send and we can give it to them that day, right? Let's turn to Claire here. What do you think there, Claire?
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you, Dick, for pulling together this group and for all your enthusiasm and warmth, really. You've got the high degree of warmth. And I feel as though Zelensky walked out of the meeting standing on his back legs and not crawling, and let the others crawl to him. I just thought it was disgusting, and he's a champion. And I think he represents the Ukrainian spirit very well. And as far as donations go, I thought Sergey said it really well. I'd just like to add that the things that we buy for the soldier on the front keeps them fighting. they feel encouraged by it, they feel supported, they can't cope without vehicles, they can't cope without drones. And so it makes a huge difference just to keep them fighting, and they're the ones that really have to deal with this whole shit show. And so I'd like to say thank you to the YouTube community for keeping the guys fighting, and amazing. And thank you also to Ivan for allowing me to get involved in this crazy world that's been so rewarding. You know, I feel as though I'm doing something really worthwhile with my life. And I think it
doing that really good, and you're doing it really good.
I think at the end of the day, my children will stand up and be proud of me. So because I'm helping you and doing something worthwhile. So I can't encourage it enough. Everybody get involved, everybody protest, everybody donate, everybody do what they can in their own space.
Good words. Good words. Let's turn over to Slavi, our LA resident Ukrainian at heart still.
Yes. Well, this past week, it was a little cultural update. It was Maslinitsa, which is a traditional Ukrainian folk holiday. And pretty much it celebrates the arrival of spring. And it goes back to origins of ancient pagan Slavic traditions that honored the transition from winter warmth. From winter to warmth. And the name itself derives from the Ukrainian word masla, meaning butter. So highlighting the importance of dairy products in this kind of celebration that later adapted to fit within Christian calendar. Sorry, I've been sick, so.
Oh.
And this is a week before Lent, the Great Lent. So this is what Ukrainians are celebrating, big Christian traditions. So guys, please donate. And it's definitely been a really, really tough week for Ukrainians. And yeah, just keep supporting Ukraine. Thanks so much. Slava Ukraini.
Heroam Slava.
Right, Slava.
Good words. Over to you, Commander.
Couple things. Number one, I wanted to address a question that somebody had asked a couple times regarding a thing that had shown up in the chat stream here. There was a question about a Rada unanimous vote in support of Zelensky. And basically on the 25th, it was proposed that they, reaffirm the legitimacy of Zelensky's presidency. The vote was unanimous. I'm putting that in air quotes because there were 12 members of the Rada who were not present for the vote. And we know at least a few of those didn't show up because it was kind of in protest. But it still shows you the overwhelming support he enjoys across the country.
Yeah. Yeah.
Secondly, I won't read it verbatim, but there's a thing in the International Institute for Study of Warfare. They talk about the fact that the governors in occupied territories have been directed, specifically Crimea, have been directed to establish human relations councils where they're supposed to help veterans get jobs.
Okay.
The issue is it's not really intended for that. It's intended to monitor those people because there is growing resentment against the government by the veterans who are leaving service about how crappy the situation is at the front and how badly they're treated. Right. So it's another police state mechanism to prevent any kind of unrest throughout the country. That shows you the kind of people that we're dealing with.
Yeah.
And finally, my usual urging, reiterating what was said earlier, please continue to correspond with your elected officials. Do everything you can to convince them that support for Ukraine is still important to your people.
Yeah. Couple of last shout outs here. Nell for a super chat. I would love to see more collab among streamers for on the ground protests and community events to support Ukraine. I would love to see people getting together for them as well. And, you know, if we made a bit more of an effort in communication, I bet we could get more of that as well. Last one in from Grunge Thing here, €5 super chat as well. We never bend the knee to carrots and little trolls. Love it. Love it. So, first off, I want to thank our team, because without the team around here, this show would not be what it is. We got Shayna, Liam Wakefield, Chris Lundy, Mexi Girl, and Super Chat Matt, and even Dave Worley here was helping out in the chat as well, because that's just how we roll, right? I want to give a huge thanks to all the members, donators, supporters, and everybody who's, you know, putting a little cabbage on the line to make sure that in the name of the Shills, we can make as much of a difference as we can. We've done a lot of fundraising. We've done a lot of good, and there's more to go. So huge thanks for your support and your dedication and support for Ukraine.
And if you want to support this channel anymore, I'd like to remind you that we do have 2 other channels. We have At the 42 Show, and we also have At Shills Live. They're in the links are in the description. You know, if you can't donate money, you can't help out in any way, shape, or form, this is the least you can do, is just go to sub to those channels. That will help us out a huge deal. Thank you very much.
I mean, you can come over and do my laundry, but subbing to those channels is the easier option. So that's the one I recommend you pick. Yeah.
Yes, less smelly.
Let's get out of here with 2 words. Slava Ukraine.
Get on, Slava.
See you soon, everybody. Thanks to everybody on the panel for joining, because, wow, was that a good one? Let's wrap it up.
Stay silly.
It's over. Go home. Go.